Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Titleless Musings, and today I have another book-themed video for you. So today I'm actually going to be showing you a little book haul that I did. It's a spring book haul where I got 18 books for $24. This was such a good thrift for me. This was at like a bag day event that I went to where you buy a bag, you pay like a flat fee for the bag, and then whatever you can fit in that bag, you can take for the flat fee. So it was $12 a bag. I got 2 bags of books, and like I said, that ended up being 18 total books. A lot of them were hardcover, and I was really impressed by the condition. So I thought I would show this off and talk a little bit about this. I don't know kind of if these events are super common everywhere. I know that sometimes used bookstores will do this, which is that's like the best way to do it, in my opinion. I try to go to as many of these as I can find because it's a really great way to increase your personal library without breaking the bank. And it's also, I think, just important to me at least to support those kind of local businesses and those local bookstores. Obviously, I'm not saying I don't shop at Barnes & Noble or Second & Charles. I do. I would be lying if I said I didn't. But I prefer to buy books through like these used book sales or used bookstores within the area, that kind of thing. So that's how I got 18 books for $24. Like I said, that is just such a good way to get more books. Basically, what I'm trying to do kind of with my physical library, I want to have a kind of curated collection, and I want to have, obviously, books that I buy, I want to be able to reread them, which is why with a lot of books that I buy, I've already read them. So like last year I bought Buckeye, which was my top read of the year. I'd already read it, but I know that I'm going to read it again. It was one that really resonated with me. So it made sense for me to buy that as opposed to constantly being on hold lists at the library. Especially, I don't know kind of if you guys are aware of this. I wasn't until I started using Libby religiously. But I didn't realize kind of how ebook licensing works, about like they'll either buy copies with a certain amount that they can loan out, or it's for a certain period. I know that there are some bills being passed around the US to try and make that more fair for libraries. So the way that I kind of look at it is I support my libraries by renting through Libby, and then I'm supporting kind of little local bookstores, or if I have to, going to Barnes & Noble. And that's kind of how I curate my collection. But I also don't want to just have books that I've already read. And that sounds so stupid. Hold on a second. Let me explain that because that sounded dumb. What I mean when I say that is I want to be able to have books that I pull off my shelf that I haven't read before. So that then it's like I'm also, not just always reading the same physical things, because I think that is the one thing people don't really talk about, I think, with physical libraries, is it does get to a point where you're like, okay, but I've read this book 8 times. That was where I sort of fell into a years-long reading slump, was all I had was, like YA teen novels that I never ended up refreshing, and then I was like, well, but I don't want to read those. I've read those so many times. So that's kind of what I mean. I want to have books that I've read that I know that I'm going to enjoy. Or, in order to kind of curate that collection, I pick up books at these used book hauls, these book days, used bookshops, etc., in order to kind of pad that out a little bit more. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing with my personal library. For the very first time ever, I organized my books by color. And I love the way it looks, but I actually do have an order coming from Book Outlet that I got it like 50% off almost. I think I paid $36 for the whole order, but I got like a gift card from somebody, so that was why part of it was covered. But yeah, I organized my bookshelves by color, and I'm not sure if I'll keep it like that. I love the way that it looks. It's very aesthetic, but I also like taking my books off the shelf and reorganizing them. I'm like a crow, but with books. That's the best way to describe me. So I'm showing now, I always make a little spread in my journal just to remember when I got the books and what books I got, because I want to obviously keep myself honest and make sure I'm not just constantly buying books and never reading them. And my kind of goal for this, obviously I'm a big historical fiction fan, so I did pick up a couple historical fiction books, but I have really, 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 really gotten into weird girl literature this year. It's taken over my life. I do think there may be something wrong with me. I'm currently reading Severance on Libby, and then my physical book for the month, I'm like 160 pages into Gone Girl. So you can see Sorrow and Bliss. Oh my god. This was one that keeps getting recommended in weird girl lit circles, and the funniest story, if you go to these events, they usually have like tables lined up, and you go through the tables, and there's boxes on the tables, that kind of thing. And I was on the other side of the table, and I saw Sorrow and Bliss, which I was on hold for, and I was like, if I keep my mouth shut and I just keep moving, I might be able to grab it, and I did. So that was a super lucky find because I was already on hold for that. I was excited to read that one. But I judge books by cover a lot. What I was trying to say is I obviously grabbed some historical fiction, but I grabbed some that I either recognized from the weird girl literature subcircles or ones that kind of gave off that vibe. I'm also a huge literary fiction fan. I do think lit fic is a very fickle genre. Not to use the word fic 800 times, but I do think it's very subjective. There have been some great books that I've read, and there have been some awful books that I've read, but I feel like it's exemplified within literary fiction because so much of it is like character driven as opposed to plot necessarily. I also picked up this book. It doesn't have a dust jacket. It was published in 1971, but the purple spoke to me. I'm not gonna lie. So I will actually read it. I haven't read a Herman Hesse book before, but I did pick it up for the aesthetics. I had the aesthetics in mind, color coding shelves and all that. But yeah, I am actually planning on making some content. I need a couple weeks. I may be gone for a few weeks on a little hiatus, but I have a list of videos that I want to make in regards to reading. The first thing I want to do is kind of talk about weird girl fic. I was thinking about filming on my iPad and just rating the books that I had read within that subgenre to sort of talk about, what books do I think are appropriately hyped, what books did I hate and DNF'd, that kind of thing. I also want to do a video about my DNFing and my rating system because I do keep detailed ratings even though I don't actually post them anywhere. I don't have a Goodreads, but I do rate that, and I thought that might be interesting to some. Like I said, I have a book outlet haul coming. It's like an 8-book haul, I think it is. Yeah, I want to do more reading videos, pretty much. So if there's anything that kind of is sparking your mind that you would like to see me talk about, I would be happy to get recommendations in the comments. I don't want to become like a full booktuber. That's not my thing. It's just more, my K-pop stuff is kind of on pause right now. There's no comebacks that I'm really following. And I'm currently in a different journal. I started a different journal. So I'm going to make, I think, a video about how to daily spread. But I'm kind of in an awkward point where we are paused a little bit. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's what I want to do. Let me know, like I said, if there's any kind of reading videos that you'd like to see. I would be happy to consider suggestions, and hopefully now that I've got a bit more time, I will actually start working towards some of those. So yeah, we are starting to come to the end of the spread. Like I said, I was so excited by this book haul. There were 2 books. I can't remember the titles of them, but I remember the synopsis of both. They were ones that I was like, should I grab it? And then I didn't, and I do regret it a little bit because they would have been ones I was interested in reading, but I just had never heard of them, which is why I didn't grab them. But you know what? It's totally fine. I have plenty of books to get through. Like I said, I'm gonna, I think, do a little bit of reorganizing. I want to create a physical TBR, like sticky note the books that I know which ones I want to read first, because I did start, like I said, Gone Girl. Finally, after literally 14 years, I'm reading Gone Girl. But, what can I say? I have been a busy worker bee. I hope you enjoyed this little rambly video. I apologize for kind of going on tangents. I had a lot on my mind that I wanted to make sure I talked about in this video. And yeah, I hope that it was interesting. Definitely check out bag days and things like that. I think libraries do it too, maybe. You could check that out. But also look at, obviously, used bookstores. I think as well, like Second and Charles has like a penny a page thing if you're a member. I'm not sure. You'll have to fact check me on that. But yeah, highly recommend. Particularly, I'm on a little bit of a budget this year. I know it seems like I got a lot of books. It's not a lot of money. That's why I wasn't so afraid to put that forward. But especially if you're on a budget and you would like to get new books, please check those out because I think it's a great experience and you can get a lot of really good books. So yeah, brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please do remember to leave a like and subscribe because it really does help the channel. Let me know down below, what reading videos do you want to see? What kind of book related content would you like to see? And I will start taking notes and making videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.